Meanwhile, rare praise from the left concerning President Trump's game-changing bipartisan meeting at the White House yesterday. Here's how the mainstream media reacted. Take a listen.
Got to give the President of the United States a lot of credit. He allowed the TV cameras in there for this really remarkable meeting.
A year ago, this is the presidency that many people thought Donald Trump was capable of. Playing the role of a deal maker, whether it sees fruition or not, this is what people who had high hopes for the Trump presidency thought it would be, meeting after meeting like this.
Joining me now to react to all this is Bill McGurn, Wall Street Journal columnist, who's had a lot to say about the Trump administration. Well, since those comments yesterday, the press has been kind of walking some of this stuff back because they realized they were sort of playing into Trump's hand there, what he was doing yesterday. Where does all this end up?
Well, we don't know. I think the president hopes it ends up in a deal. And a deal is clearly out there. He's offering the Democrats something they really want, is regularizing the status of the DACA people who came here as children. And in exchange, he's going to insist on some stuff for border security, especially as well. I mean, that's just a campaign reality. The wall was probably the defining issue of the Trump campaign. He can't make a deal on immigration for his people without getting something, you know, in return.
And it's clear that the president just cut through about 150 hours worth of time wasted on the floor of the Senate or on the floor of the House of Representatives, just all this stuff making noise about things. He just cut through a lot of that stuff by what he said. But I'm wondering also how this ends up in terms of the press viewing the president and the press putting out a view of the president as being confused or anything, which seemed to be ended in one quick press conference.
It would take a lot of faith to believe that the press is going to re-examine their premises and everything. Look, I think one of the most debilitating things for coverage of this presidency, you can disagree with the president, but when you enter your coverage believing that he's stupid, it's debilitating to your own coverage. I mean, one thing a journalist should be doing is questioning premises and not accepting received wisdom. And so much of it is all the same. But
when you hear people like Joe Scarborough this morning talking about yesterday, which everybody agreed, even some of the CNN critics agreed was a terrific performance by the president, to use his word. He said he was rambling, he looked confused. I mean, we were all witnesses to how he zeroed in on the issues very clearly, had bipartisan support in the way he did that. People are witness. They can decide whether they get this crazy idea from Joe Scarborough or what they saw with their own eyes.
Well, I'm a happier, healthier man than you because I don't listen to Joe Scarborough.
I actually read the transcript of what he said.
You know, that doesn't worry me. The virtue of doing what the president did yesterday is people can see for themselves. I mean, if you feel there are different ways he has of going around the press and the coverage. Twitter is one of them. But this is an excellent way. Let people see it. Also, it's excellent for your opponents because a lot of times people just want to be heard. You know, they want to have and it gives them a chance to make their issue.
I want to switch gears dramatically here because what the FBI has been going through is of a very personal interest to you, not only because you write about these things, but also your father was an FBI agent. So you got a personal stake in what happens at the FBI. It is clear that some of the top echelons of the FBI were actively working with surrogates of the Hillary Clinton campaign in order to put out stuff that was against Donald Trump. I mean, that's what was happening as far as we know.
Well, that's what it certainly looks like. I mean, it was the family business. I don't have any investment.
I understand, but you care a lot about what happens to the FBI, and it is viewed now as, in some ways, at least from some quarters of it, as a partisan institution.
And I think my impression is that the bulk of the rank and file, the men and women agents, are doing a tremendous job and are people of integrity. But the leadership has made some incredible decisions. Look, just one. When Peter Strzok's name first became public, remember we were told what a professional he was? This was the consummate counterintelligence professional.
He was the guy who interviewed Hillary Clinton, and then we saw his texts.
He's having an affair with a coworker, another FBI person, and then they're putting all these incredibly partisan things. The latest texts show it looks like they're discussing a leak. and how to hide it from the other. Does any part of that scream professional to you?
Not at all. Not at all. And it must bother you a lot as a
Yeah, well, I think
FBI
it should
family.
bother everyone that this institution, look, it's one thing. I think it's worse than anything Mrs. Clinton did, and I think she did some pretty bad things. It's bad enough if there's a candidate who's cutting corners and stuff, but when it's our law enforcement agencies, if we can't trust them, the game is really up.
Bill McGurn from the Wall Street Journal. Good to see you, Bill.
Thanks,
Thank
David.
you very much.